Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Dani Visser, and I'm a Deputy Vice-Chancellor in the University, and I've come to welcome you to this wonderful winter's day in Cape Town, and to tell you a little bit about the ceremony that is about to unfold here. Now, many of you have been to graduation ceremonies before, and some of you haven't, so some of you will know some of the things that I say, but I thought a little bit of the history of this ceremony might be interesting to you. Now, the ceremony goes back to the earliest universities. And when were the earliest universities started? Well, in the beginning of the 12th century. The first one was, as we know universities today, the first one was the University of Bologna, that started in the year 1088. And it was begun under the auspices or under the protection of the Countess Matilda, who had the privilege granted to her by the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, Frederick Barbarossa. So students then came to study at Bologna, and they were given special privileges by the Emperor. They could travel without being hindered. They were only when they transgressed. They were not heard in the ordinary courts of the land, but in special university courts, and they were specially treated. And of course, those who studied at Bologna went away all over Europe and started universities in their own countries, in France, Spain, and all around in Europe. But these European universities, of course, were already borrowing traditions and ways of doing things from the Islamic countries, because at the time when Europe was still in the Dark Ages, up until the 12th century, so from the 5th century onwards, there was a very vibrant intellectual culture in the Muslim world. And it is said that the first university in the Muslim world was started a long time before Bologna by the Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, and he set up the Islamic University in Medina. And it is said that the students, when they completed their studies, came before him, and then they knelt before him, and he blessed them. So that is also perhaps some of the ceremony comes right back from that time of the Islamic University of Medina. So these institutions, the universities of Europe in the 12th century, began quickly to award degrees, a gradus in Latin. It means a step. You start with baccalaureus, then you go to master, and then you go to doctor. So in the end, doctor originally means, in its Latin word, just the license to teach. So once you got that red robe, you had the license to teach in a university. Now, the gowns that you're wearing today, of course, come from the religious orders of the 12th century, because in those days, most of the students were members of religious orders, and of course, they had to wear long black robes and a kappa as well, as it was known, the kappa clausa, worn over their heads. Now, this kappa was a hood, and it was originally designed to keep one free of rain and to shield you against the elements. So the hood, and you will all be hooded today, a hood will be put around you, but the hood originally was actually a hoodie, you know, it was something you pulled over your head so you didn't get wet. Now, eventually, the hood developed into a ceremonial thing with different colors to show the different statuses of the wearers, etc., etc. And of course, today, the hoods in universities indicate which degree is being conferred on you. So this kind of academic dress, of course, we come across all over the world in one way or another, and it shows the real way in which universities are enduring institutions. You know, there are not many institutions that existed in the 12th century and still exist today in more or less recognizable form. But of course, universities would never have lasted so long if they were not able to adapt. So of course, universities have to adapt to modern times. So the fact that we do something that comes from the 12th century in this ceremony, of course, doesn't mean that the whole university is still stuck in the 12th century. Although, in Germany in the 1960s, they decided that the robes were actually too much of a reference to the past. So in the student revolution that started in 1968, the students insisted that the German universities do away with the robes. And their war cry was, "Unter den Talaren der Muff von 1000 Jahren." Under the gowns, the mold of 1,000 years, you know, so out with the robes. So the German universities now don't have robes, although many of them, the University of Tübingen in the 90s reintroduced them, the University of Bonn again in 2005, so it's coming back again, even in Germany, to recognize the general way in how one celebrates the formal passage or entry into a degree. Now, today, of course, is a day of celebration. It is also a formal occasion. So this is a congregation of the University of Cape Town. You'll see that the Vice-Chancellor comes in, and the Vice-Chancellor will constitute this as a congregation of the University of Cape Town. That means it is an occasion on which legally degrees can be conferred. So that is what he will say. But, of course, it is also intended to be a celebration, right? And so you must please not feel inhibited and clap, shout, ululate. And even though, but I must say, we draw the line at vuvuzelas, even though we are at the eve of the World Cup. So the ceremony is going to start just now. Maybe you're going to sit for a long time. Maybe you just want to stand up now and stretch your legs. I think it's important to do that because you're going to sit for a really long time. So stand up, stretch your legs. Okay, let's sit down, and then the procession is about to enter. Enjoy the ceremony. Thank you.
By the authority conferred on me as Vice-Chancellor, I constitute this Assembly a congregation of the University of Cape Town.
The national anthem will now be sung. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to invite Nomagaliso Gondwe, the President of the SRC, to read the university dedication.
At this time of celebration, we, the members of the University of Cape Town, reaffirm our mission to nurture rational and creative thought and free inquiry, to strive for excellence in teaching and research, to educate for life, and to address the challenges of our society. We undertake to advance these ideals in the spirit of freedom and responsibility, and through consultation and debate. We celebrate our founders, benefactors, and predecessors, those who have built the fabric and nourished the values of UCT. To those of you who will graduate today, we wish courage, wisdom, and purpose. To those who will leave the university to learn and work elsewhere, may you be sustained by those values which unite us here today and advance them in the world beyond, a love of truth and learning, and of this our university.
Please be seated.
zu schwach. Du wirst sie zu befreien gehen, du wirst der Tochter Rette sein, ja, du wirst der Tochter Rette sein, und wird dich als Sieger sehen, so sei sie dann auf ewig dein, so sei sie dann.
The aria was the Queen of the Night from the Magic Flute by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And our soprano was Leah Gunther, and she was accompanied by Eben Wachenstrom. Please give them another hand. And earlier, Gaudiamus and the national anthem were performed by the singers of the South African College of Music, and they were accompanied on the organ by Eric de Penaar. Please give them a hand as well. Thank you. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to Jamison Hall today on this very happy occasion. A special welcome to all the parents, family and loved ones of the graduates. We know that many of you have come from far away to celebrate this occasion with us, and we thank you especially for coming and being with us today to celebrate. But also a very warm welcome to the most important people today, the graduates. You are all different people today than you were at the time that you entered university, or even from the time that you began your studies in the particular degree or diploma for which you are being capped today. You are now transformed people. Your studies, your lecturers, your fellow students have transformed you into someone with new skills and new knowledge. And I think if each of you were to reflect and compare yourselves to what you were when you first entered university, you will realize that you have a very great power, the power to transform yourselves, and that you have utilized this power. If you could do that, and if you could do it so dramatically in the years that you spent at university, you can, of course, do it throughout your lives. And I urge you to always remember that you have this power, and I urge you to employ it throughout your years. Now, I've said that you have been transformed by your experience at the university, but you can go beyond transforming yourselves. You also have the opportunity to transform the world around you. Today, the university delivers you into the world as bearers of new knowledge, new skills, and a new status. And being a graduate of the University of Cape Town, of course, gives you an edge in the world. But I urge you to use the power that this gives you to contribute to transforming our still unequal society to one of greater justice and equality. Your university is very proud of you today. Make it your business to make it ever more prouder of you as time goes on. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will now begin. And to start with, we will have the conferral of the UCT Book Award. Vice-Chancellor, the UCT Book Award is given for a book authored by a member of the university judged to be of scholarly or literary merit and the best of the year. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you for the UCT Book Award for 2014, Nicola Natras, Professor in the School of Economics. Vice-Chancellor, Nicola Natras' The AIDS Conspiracy, Science Fights Back, explores the individual and social aspects of AIDS denialism and AIDS conspiracy beliefs in South Africa and the United States. In it, she argues that AIDS conspiracy beliefs are strongly mediated by local history and culture, but that the role of leaders in promoting these ideas is also crucial. AIDS conspiracy beliefs are harmful. They are difficult to contest precisely because the legitimacy of the scientific evidence itself is at stake in the narratives of conspiracy theorists and denialists who make a conspiratorial move against science by saying that none of it can be trusted because it has been irredeemably corrupted by pharmaceutical companies and shadowy political forces. A central argument in her book is that AIDS denialism gains social traction through the linked roles of the hero scientist, culturepreneurs, living icons, and praise singers, sympathetic journalists who lionize these roles in the media. Her book is highly accessible, impeccably referenced, scholarly, and essential reading for anyone wanting to understand the role of conspiracy theories in the social and political history of the AIDS epidemic. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to invite you to present the UCT Book Award for 2014 to Nicola Natras.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present for the award of the degree of Doctor of Science in Medicine, honoris causa, Salim Safuddin Abdul Karim. Omnium artium medicina noblissima est. Medicine is the noblest of arts. Well, not for everyone, and certainly not for the young Slim Karim, whose heart was set on engineering. He was the original techno-geek, standing in a long queue outside Game in Durban when the first Apple IIe computer came out, and intensely fascinated with the new worlds of computers and engineering. However, it was not to be. There was considerable pressure to choose medicine as a career. From his family, where the belief was, if you're not a doctor, you're not a success. The fact that the only bursaries that were offered to him were for medicine. But besides the finance and the family, medicine was a way to give expression to his values and his caring nature. Thus, the world gained one of its foremost HIV/AIDS researchers. One of Slim Karim's first studies looked at why the AIDS epidemic was so severe in southern Africa. And the results showed that it was young women, especially teenage girls, who were most vulnerable. And these young girls were not being infected by young boys, but by older men. So the problem was not just medical. It was entirely complicated by gender politics, power dynamics, behavioral issues, social issues, economic issues, not to mention the virulent and lethal virus for which there was no known cure. This was the context for more than 20 years of HIV prevention research that has included everything from strategic planning and epidemiological studies to clinical trials and patent filing. Today, Slim Karim is known as an excellent scholar and an exceptional leader. He has clarity of thought. He understands where things are going, not just in his own field, but in interrelated fields as well. But it was not always so straightforward. Just 7 years ago, the journal Nature published a damning criticism of Slim Karim's proposed tenofovir gel study with the headline, HIV Trial Doomed by Design. He wrote a rebuttal, the study went ahead, and 4 years later, at the International AIDS Conference in Vienna, the results were presented to a global buzz. The media interviews went on until 3 in the morning, the venue and the overflow venue were packed, and the presentation was greeted with a standing ovation. The results showed that tenofovir microbicide was effective against HIV infection. What was even more significant is that a microbicide is used by women, and thus the study gave some hope that women could protect themselves. The news made the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Guardian, and the Lancet, and the microbicide was named one of the top 10 scientific breakthroughs of the year. Slim Karim co-presented the results in Vienna with his wife, Kureisha. They've been working as a team since they were married, with Kureisha doing more of the clinical work and Slim focusing more on the laboratory studies. He says jokingly that they complement each other. She does more of the work, and he takes more of the credit. Kureisha says, if Slim were an animal, he would be a lion, definitely. He's generous, magnanimous, and smart. He has gravitas, and he's a great leader. Omnium artium medicina noblissima est. Medicine is the noblest of the arts, but nobler still when practiced with such profound impact for those most in need. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present for the award of the degree of Doctor of Science in Medicine, honoris causa, Salim Safuddin Abdul Karim.
Vice-Chancellor.
Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellors, members of the faculty, parents, students, it's indeed a great pleasure and an honor for me to be here with you today. I stand before you humbled by this wonderful honor. I want to start by paying tribute to our great late President, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, who has been and continues to be the inspiration that has guided our work. And I want to pay special tribute to the Chancellor, who unfortunately is not able to be with us here today because of her period of mourning. I have been involved in research now for some 30-odd years of my career. And I have to say that the one thing I've learned is that you have to work in very large teams, bringing together various disciplines and great minds that are able to come together. And at the University of Cape Town, I've had the great fortune to work with some wonderful and brilliant scientists in the form of Professor Carolyn Williamson, Professor Joanne Passmore. And over the years, my center has been guided by the wisdom of people like Professor Valerie Mazrai. So I stand before you today having benefited from their wisdom, their thoughts, and their scientific contributions. But what I want to do in the next few minutes is I want to just elaborate on some of the points that Alison has made so beautifully in her oration. So the year is 1989. Kuresha and I come back from Columbia Universities. We are young postgraduates, having obtained our degrees in New York, and we arrive back to South Africa to realize that we are sitting on one of the world's worst potential epidemics of HIV infection. You can imagine, as a young 29-year-old, I certainly had a lot more hair, and thick and black as it was. Of course, the years have taken their toll. We undertook back then one of the first studies done on HIV infection in Africa in a community setting. We studied through the malaria control program the prevalence of HIV infection, and we're one of the first to show one very important characteristic of the HIV epidemic in much of southern Africa. And if you forget everything else I tell you today, just remember this very important fact, that young women share and continue to have a disproportionate burden of the HIV epidemic in South Africa and indeed in most of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa. What do I mean by that? If you take the evidence that Kuresha showed in that very early study back in 1989 and 1990, what she showed was that young men between the ages of 16 and 24 have very little HIV infection. But in that same period, in that 16 to 24 age group, women have a huge burden of HIV. In other words, large numbers of young women are acquiring HIV. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that those young women are not acquiring the bulk of those infections from young men. They are acquiring them from older men, from men who are beyond 25 into 30s. So it was this age differential in the partnering pattern that was driving the HIV epidemic in South Africa. Even today, when we look at the HIV epidemic in South Africa, young women bear the brunt of this virus. So that finding back in 1990 was the inspiration, was the driving force, laid the foundation of the research we undertook for the next 25 years. We started back in 1993 with the first study of a microbicide. We made a product called Nanoxyl-9 film, worked with a company in the US to make it for us. We tested it. It was a small disaster in that we didn't show it worked. Now you have to understand that we have some tools to prevent HIV infection, what was traditionally known as the ABCs, abstinence, be faithful, condoms. But when you think about a young woman, age 16, 17, 18, having sex with a 26-year-old, abstinence is already something that's way past. She can be faithful, and she will be faithful to the very man who's going to give her HIV. And for a young woman to insist on condoms with an older man was an incredibly difficult challenge, especially since many of them were even trying to fall pregnant. So the traditional tools that we had, the ABCs, simply don't apply. And we know this, and we see this every day in the clinic. Young women coming to me as I'm sitting in my clinic in Vulindlela, "Doctor, I don't want to get HIV." And I say, well, there's really not much I can tell you. I mean, all I can do is encourage your partner to use a condom. So we were faced with a situation where young women who were bearing the disproportionate burden really had very few tools. So we started the search in earnest to find something that women could use to protect themselves against HIV. So we started with anoxanol 9. We worked with another company called Columbia Laboratories with an anoxanol 9 gel. We studied Pro 2000. We studied buffer gel. It goes on. Every one of those studies over the next 13 years failed. In fact, by 2003, you could regard us as the masters, the experts of failure. We had learned how to fail, and we were failing dramatically, not just little failure. Our failures were being broadcast in the top journals, in the biggest conferences. We were sharing with the world, one attempt after another, failing. We tried 8 different studies, different products, all failed. So in 2003, we were doing a study of TB and HIV. And we were using a drug called tenofovir. New drug, just came out. We saw its powerful effect in killing HIV and its terrific side effect profile. One of the safest drugs we'd come across. I mean, we were working with drugs that were pretty toxic. So in 2004, I plucked up some courage, got onto a plane, and flew to California, to just outside San Francisco, a small town called Foster City, to a company called Gilead Sciences. They were ready for me. I had made all the arrangements. My first meeting at Gilead is with the Vice President of Clinical Affairs. As I walk into the room, his first comment to me was, I have to tell you that the board of Gilead has already made a decision not to proceed with tenofovir gel. So my first words that I'm told is, sorry, you came all this way from Durban to California just for us to tell you we're not going to do what you'd like us to do with you. So I had something like 6 hours to convince them otherwise. I met with a whole range of their different scientists. I presented data. I gave a lunchtime talk. And then came the key meeting. I was meeting with a subcommittee of the board. And the chair of the board, in that 1 hour that I had to speak to them, I shared with him a vision. I shared with him what the world could be like if we could do this kind of research. And as I was getting up to walk out, he said to me, okay, we'll give you the 25 kilograms of tenofovir you need to make gel. And I said to him, well, we are going to take all the risk. We're going to make the gel. We're going to do the study. We're going to raise all the funds. And you're going to own the gel. I said, that's not fair. So he looked at me. Drug companies do not discuss intellectual property. And I said to him, it would be really nice if we could own the license for tenofovir gel. He looked at me, smiled, and he said, well, we'll think about that. And I have to tell you, the spirit of the company we were working with, even before we knew the results of tenofovir gel, they started discussions with us and negotiations to provide us with a royalty-free license to tenofovir gel. And today we own tenofovir gel. We've given it to our government. Our government, through its biotechnology arm, owns the license to tenofovir gel, with not a single cent in royalty to Gilead Sciences. So we start the study. We raise the funds, we do all the regulatory approvals, we're about to enroll the first patient, and what we learn, 27 scientists, laboratory researchers from the UK and from the US have written a letter to Nature attacking our study. They were concerned we were going to cause resistance, that we didn't know enough on how to dose this gel, that we didn't know enough about what we were doing. And so Nature wrote a 2-page article. Its headline, Trial Doomed by Design. They didn't stop at that. They laid anonymous complaints. There were complaints to our funders about the science that we were doing. Eventually, our funders decided to host an open review of our proposed research. It was simply too far ahead of its time. The review was chaired by the World Health Organization, And it was something like about 60 or 70 of the world's leading scientists who were given an opportunity to criticize what we were doing. At the end of those 3 hours of discussion, it became clear. The only way to answer the criticisms is to actually do the research. All of these are hypothetical concerns, and you cannot answer them unless you actually do the study. Is this product going to lead to resistance? Well, you can't answer the question unless you do the study. You've got to do the study in order to show empirically whether a hypothetical concern is real. We were very pleased that that review gave us the strong go-ahead, and so we proceeded. We enrolled 889 rural and urban women. We encouraged them to use this gel every time they had sex. And at the end, in 2010, we announced the results to show that tenofovir gel prevents HIV infection. And as a bonus, we learned that it prevents genital herpes. Now, genital herpes has almost no treatment that prevents genital herpes. Even condoms have only a marginal benefit with genital herpes because it's shed in the perineum. We had discovered the first prevention that was effective against genital herpes, and we owned the patents for that discovery. Well, we went on to doing the research that was able to discover the first technology that could be used by women, that its use and its control was purely in the hands of women, that they had the power to control their own risk of HIV infection. The goal we had set ourselves back in 1990 was realized in 2010. It took us 18 years, 8 magnificent failures. It took us millions of dollars, hours of research, eventually to show that we could find a technology that empowered women to protect themselves against HIV. And more importantly, it showed us that even a wily virus like HIV, even this devastating little organism, can be defeated. With good science, with hard work, and with sheer dogged determination, perseverance will win out at the end of the day. On that note, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Vice Chancellor, by virtue of the authority conferred upon me, I admit to the degrees specified and grant the diplomas specified to the candidates recorded as in absentia. I shall now grant the diplomas and admit to the degrees specified the candidate to be presented to me. For the postgraduate diploma in accounting, Rayan Ali. Megan Emily Brabby. Luigi Enzo Brown. Taryn Joy Buck. Richard Francis Burgess. Malika Daniels. Nuran David. Talent Tviti. Mohammad Itisham Khalant. Julia Fernanda Gomez. Voyu Jacob. Jubi Ann James. Matthew Michael Lawrence. Hansol Lee. Gareth Sean Madella. Vuyolweto Madakana. Casey Doreen Manser. Takalani Emma Manyaga. Yunati Siabulela Manzi. Marcus Matare Nimtz. Simone Mava Prasad. Nosipo Zakiti Njiako. Zakira Musa. Kanya Mbalenchele Moraka. Munib Mulaji. Rosa Naitayetu Munganjira. Mpo Mutwane. Arthur Tatenda Mwandi. Nomagugu Mabongi Mviana. Kiran Naidu. Pumla Precious Ngobane. Laurel Anastasia Niemak. Rita Saban. Abigail Revel Smith. Daryl Eric Warren. Weemin Zhang. For the postgraduate diploma in management in accounting conversion, Coletso Modise. Tsukila Mtotso. For the postgraduate diploma in management in entrepreneurship, Walter Brighton Chirombo. For the postgraduate diploma in management in information systems, David Mata. For the postgraduate diploma in management in marketing, Ashley Gower Sims. Nada Namshla Tjilo. For the postgraduate diploma in management in tourism and events management, Tando Makamba.
I hereby invite the graduates in the Faculty of Health Sciences, as well as members of the health sciences profession in general, to stand. and join me in saying the Health Sciences Declaration. Hereby we affirm or reaffirm our commitment to ethical patient care. And you can find this declaration on page 5 of your program. I solemnly pledge to serve humanity. My most important considerations will be the health of patients and the health of their communities. I will not permit considerations of age, gender, race, religion, ethnic origin, sexual orientation, disease, disability, or any other factor to adversely affect the care I give to patients. I will uphold human rights and civil liberties to advance health, even under threat. I will engage patients and colleagues as partners in healthcare. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity. I will respect the confidentiality of patients present or past, living or deceased. I will value research and will be guided in its conduct by the highest ethical standards. I commit myself to lifelong learning. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. Thank you. You may be seated. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you for the postgraduate diploma in disability studies, Wilson Tarusarira. For the postgraduate diploma in healthcare technology management, with distinction, Sholene Kediboni Links. Madodana Mafana. For the postgraduate diploma in health management, Ismail Lachlane Matungwa. Deliwe Lottie Nkosi. With distinction, Muhammad Osman. Notrolisa Stella Khadebe. Awatif Rayloon. Mapule Elizabeth Skippers. Dion Trevor Swichelaar. And Mamosa Elsie Teboho Chabalala. With distinction, Catherine Weber Randari. Margaret Tandeka Zulu. For the postgraduate diploma in nursing, in critical care nursing child, Jabulani Daniel Maseku. For the postgraduate diploma in palliative medicine, Milaku Elazar Iyasu. For the postgraduate diploma in pediatric radiology, Jacqueline Dutoy. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Audiology, Maserami Esther Masemola. Sitembile Patience Ndlela. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physiotherapy, Esihle Nangamsu Dlani. Leletu Lisa.
Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you, for the degree of Bachelor of Business Science in Actuarial Science, Mampio Helena Lisagnani. For the degree of Bachelor of Business Science in Management Studies, Louis Vusumuzi Dube. Nadia Khatija Farr. Jami Jeptas. Laletu Ketsa. Siseko Maslati. Wilishle Brian Mfundisi. Janet Ndayendeleo Mundilo. Raquel Naker. Lucian Naidu. Nslansla Junior Ngulube. Mishka Rajab. Mateus Louis Ras. Ilham Survey. For the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Jason Tuyoleni Akwenye. Ilham Ali. Farah Amir Mia. Kama Dean Babana. Ninu Mary Babu. Awangiwe Boy. Learn Booley. Tabang Andres Boshamane. Matombi Charmaine Klele. Tinasha Tambo Arthur Chakamanga. Chilesha Chiboa. Gabriela Michelle Christian. Anik Dabrowski. Nadia Daniels. Alia David. Ntokozo Mbale Dlamini. Tandeka Sharon Dlamini. Babelwa Mvulakazi Dlanjwa. Lorato Leketseng Dumisa. Sean Thomas Dures. Caitlin Jane Edwards. Yasir Abdul Ghaffar Essek. Richard Paul Filer. Natalie Helyar. Ghislaine Lucy Hawk. Carolyn Ann James. Chang Joseph Jung. Abubakar Nizam Kala. Jade Michelle Kaplan. Kelsey Jean Kay. Sibabalwe Casa. Lindelwa Sipakanyiiswa Kawana. Nslakanipo Bright Kumalo. Tobela Brian Kika. Young Kim. Reginald Farai Kunyongana. David John Leshnick. Tendo Legega. Nakato Luzuka. Gianni Sikizwa Mabunda. Karuna Maranlala. Ndeedzo Maduma. Maribi Elizabeth Maela. Edwin Munieri Maina. Sipelo Malinda. Sininslansla Pearl Mapamulo. Tandai Mariga. Ruben Oliver Mashimbai. Lobatsibeni Luazi Maswangani. Ntabiseng Abigail Mbeshle. Zilipa Mdadimba. Lorraine Tefo Mesuela. Lucas Metzmacher. Titso Winnie Mfosi. Fatima Ali Muhammad. Kirsty Lee Morrison. Pindile Chepo Mota. Ntombifuti Mtembu. Mwanda Godwill Mulaudzi. Karen Niarai Musingwini. Andrew Naker. Pongeka Nontobeko Ndlovu. Kobile Ndlovu. Randy Rendani Nesangani. Samkelo Trobo. Sifiso Trobo. Sitembile Portia Nslongulela. Sipiwe Nslapo. Tuboho Ntinja. Ntando Cyril Ntuli. Avika Nunkumar. Mslakanipo Gift Nieda. Raiz Omar. Vedanthan Pather. Liezo Sivuile Potelwa. John Michael Prentice. Tantaswa Konko. Desigan ready. Rhiannon Janet Rees. Prayer Mikongelo Ricozzo. Elroy Steve Salih. Pumlani Simon Shabalala. Bandila Crescent Shongwa. Bushula Sibaka. Megan Smith. Inam Suker. Nicholas Montague Sergi. Kiram Ashwin Tilakdari. Zaid Yusuf Vahed. Kirsten Nicole Van Veek. For the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Honors in Financial Analysis and Portfolio Management, Rushikesh Allur. Stephanos Jacobus Bota. Andrew Brent Bovel. Delitso Buluma. Hendrik Christoffel Burnett. James Reed Campbell. With first class, Emily Jane Cartwright. Andrew Stephen Chuler. Lahani Devet. Tinashe Allison Dubé. Erica Jane Fleming. George Chapman Friend. Bulalani Mbuyakezo Gwabeni. Sung Man Han. Unati Hawana. Paul Harrow Honk. With first class, Edward Andrew Sankey James. Gloria Kalala Kapinga. George Scaria Caramel. Jeremy Edward King. Mark Christopher Leshnick. Justin David Middleton. Nozipo Nyandu. Kutso Paul Mosoto. Chuvungwa Goodness Musandiwa. With first class, Santosh Sagran Naidu. Bhavina Natu. Nishal Natu. Mirjam Ndafadiba. Ricardo Peretti. With first class, Nita Prinsloo. With first class, Michael James Sheen. Matthew Astley Simons. With first class, Martin Plamanov Chernev. Nathan Grant Zietzman. Ndemiso Zulu. For the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Honors in Information Systems, Florence Kudakwashe Bura. Charlie Derek Mboweni. Yolanda Yanela Ninzi. Motlotlehi Morty Salelo. For the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Honors in Taxation, Ratidzo Ruskwa. Kudakwasha Svondo. Tasmika Vatter.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you for the degree of Master of Medicine in Medical Genetics, Karani Elizabeth Spencer. In Neurology, with distinction in the dissertation, Amina Ismail Daud. In Neurosurgery, David Roytowski. In Pediatrics, with distinction in the dissertation, Graham William Spittle. In Pathology, Chemical, with distinction in the dissertation, Philip Hendrik Forkens. In Pathology, Hematological, Louis Almaro Dupisani. In Pathology, Virological, Lucia Ronell Hans. In Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery, Sean Thirumale Moodley. In Radiation Oncology, Sebatu Philip Chiapo. In Surgery, AHM Sharfuddin Mahmoud Chowdhury. For the degree of Master of Medicine in Anatomical Pathology, Riyad Roberts. For the degree of Master of Medicine in Emergency Medicine, Minal Galal. For the degree of Master of Medicine in Pediatrics, with distinction in the dissertation, Deveshni Reddy. For the degree of Master of Medicine in Radiation Oncology, Adrian Zacharias Albertus van Jaarsveld. For the degree of Master of Philosophy in Biokinetics, Muhammad Habib Nurbai. Simone Annabella Tomaz. In biomedical forensic science, Muaimin Kasu. Rolanda Sabrina Lont. With distinction in the dissertation, Kelvin Gerald Mole. In developmental pediatrics, Andrew William Redfern. In maternal and child health, Amwe Aku. Manyeleti Gladys Sambo. Irene Singogo. In neonatology, Muhammad Shukri Rabban. In palliative medicine, Jan Christoffel Groevier. Frank Anamu Manasseh. In public mental health, Bazonglile Marimbe Dube. For the degree of Master of Philosophy in Emergency Medicine, in Clinical Emergency Care, Muhammad Rida Booli. For the degree of Master of Public Health, Elizabeth Brearley. Lorraine Shamisu Muwava. In clinical research, with distinction in the dissertation, Stanzi Maria Leroux. In epidemiology, with distinction, Kirsty Jane Britton. Nkosi Lesisa Mpofu. With distinction, Tamsin Kate Phillips. In health economics, Jean-Pierre Etienne Zili. In health systems, Dixon Rodney Otieno Okello. Remy Malama Shawa. For the degree of Master of Science in Medicine in Anatomical Pathology, Anna Magdalena Rademan. In Bioinformatics, Mamana Mabiyavanga. Kristen Marie Wolfenden. In Biomedical Engineering, Chipo Chimundo. Timothy David Perks. With distinction, Raphael V. Smith. Esther van Heerden. In clinical science and immunology, with distinction, Alana Tonya Kaiser. With distinction, Nargis Khatun Tower. With distinction, Sumaya Ghulamraza Esmail Thawer. In dietetics, Catherine Manning. In exercise science, Sarah Ann Chantler. With distinction, Kim Jenna Stevenson. In hematology, Kitelu Richmond Kulu. In human genetics, Nasia Hassan. With distinction, Sasha Maureen Mannion. In medical biochemistry, Rufaro Chivora. With distinction, Carabello Musia Nkwe. Tamlin Marion Shaw. With distinction, Munira Smith. With distinction, Akona Vava. In medical virology, with distinction, Smriti Dabi. In medicine, Ilham Muhammad. With distinction, Ilana van Brakel. In neuroscience, with distinction, Lauren Leclésio. With distinction, Haley Sarah Tomes. In physiology, Paula Roxana Pinar. For the degree of Master of Science in Nursing, with distinction in the dissertation, Martha Maria Leonard. Buyelwa Charity Majikela Dlangamandla. Deborah Jacqueline Ockhuis. Betsy Anita Rafferty. Lydia Vero Senyonga. For the degree of Master of Science in Physiotherapy, Catherine Ann Shamali. Catherine Tasha Nemandu. For the degree of Master of Science in Speech-Language Pathology, Lazanne Leroux.
Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you, for the degree of Master of Business Science in Actuarial Science, with distinction, Brendan Michael Lapham. Simon Mazalek. For the degree of Master of Business Science in Economic Development, Charlotte Patsimo Ellis. For the degree of Master of Business Science in Finance, Deepika Pawan. For the degree of Master of Business Science in Marketing, with distinction, Andrew Charles Montandon. With distinction, Bradley Ryan Wickham. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Economic Development, with distinction, Jessica Manea Zulu. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Applied Economics, with distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Bianca Lorna Bomer. Andrew Richard Grant. Kim Pamela Ingle. With distinction in the dissertation, Salma Kagi. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Economics, Amina Ibrahim. Manini Molacelli. Tom Magara Njeru. Diana Komubaizi Niabongo. Linda Christine Niabongo. Salma Ahmed Zakaria. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Financial and Risk Management, Mohammed Riza Doli. Simone Naidu. Mziwonke Modridge Mzi Samdaka. Karen Wendy Weppener. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Financial Management with distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Jonathan Dillon. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Information Systems with distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Akinlolu Olumide Akanda. Oluyomi Olufemi Kabiawu. With distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Ismail Hassa. With distinction, Shirley Catherine Lavin. Mninawe Albert Mankachu. Susan Makura. With distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Celeste Phillips. Genevieve Shelley Stanton. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Investment Management, with distinction in the dissertation, Monique Cherry Bars. Christopher James Eddy. Frederick Nicholas Eloff. Barry Panulo. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Organizational Psychology, Kim Lisa Browser. With distinction in the dissertation, Chi Wen Angel Hung. Carol Ann Mold. Chelsea Ellen Pinar. With distinction in the dissertation, Nicola Claire Thompson. For the degree of Master of Commerce in South African Taxation, Jaco Brits. Robert Frank Dreeman. With distinction in the dissertation, Susanna Janine Fourie. With distinction in the dissertation, Ruben Stanley Johannes. Margie Mabuda Fassi. Bruce Stewart Russell. For the degree of Master of Philosophy in Marketing, Charlene von Pollender. For the degree of Master of Philosophy in Mathematical Finance, with distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Alexander John Backwell. With distinction in the dissertation, Trevor Joseph Brinkman. Kendall Vernon Carolison. Servas Marcus Crowther. Justin Dion de Kock. Mario Nicolo Gioricic. Lillian Decoria Casanena. Søren Eckhart König-Kramer. Jatin Kuverji. With distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Hiltia Creel. With distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Sheldon Mays. Richard Neil Moore. With distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Ralph Rudd. Robin Lee Tully. Carolyn Jean Weber. Nicole Weimar. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Program Evaluation, Jamaya Armin Ali. Raleigh Ngandu Lufuluabo. With distinction in the dissertation, Muhammad Raj Muhammad. Petunia Ritumetse Mogorosi. Hazel Laura Mugo. Deirdre Margot Rule. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Economics, for a thesis which analyzes youth unemployment in South Africa with particular attention to the transition from schooling to work in Cape Town, Cecil Sazizo Mlacheni. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Finance, for a thesis which examines the impact of firm-specific factors on the cross-sectional variation of equity returns on the JSE, and develops a framework for a filtering approach which can be applied in the portfolio management process, Jacobus Daniel van Heerden. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Information Systems, for a thesis which develops an innovative way of determining the role of IT in governance by measuring the level of coherence among the following complex and interplaying factors: IT usage, governance processes, and external pressures in a transition economy. Lucas Gervas Mimbi.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you, for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Anatomy and Cell Biology, for a thesis that reveals differences in structure and function of abdominal muscles in children and adolescents with cerebral palsy, compared with typically developing individuals, thus impacting on rehabilitation procedures to strengthen abdominal muscles for the provision of trunk stability. Xavier Kweku Argenti. In cardiothoracic surgery, for a thesis which establishes appropriate animal models and elucidates critical aspects related to the mechanisms involved in the spontaneous healing of synthetic blood vessel prostheses. Timothy Charles Pennell. In clinical pharmacology, for a thesis which extends the application of nonlinear mixed effects models to pharmacometric analyses optimizing tuberculosis treatments in adults and children with tuberculosis. Simbarashi Peter Zvada. In clinical science and immunology, for a thesis which uses novel methods for in-depth characterization of Mycobacterium tuberculosis-specific T-cell immunity in people vaccinated against TB or infected with TB in order to understand the role of T-cell populations in TB, Onay Bridget Dentware. In clinical science and immunology, for a thesis which explores HIV-1 subtype G envelope sequences and sensitivity to neutralization by anti-HIV antibody, and increases our understanding of the subtype within the HIV-1 epidemic, Renee Ghislaine Isomba. In clinical science and immunology, for a thesis which characterizes the role of TNF derived specifically from neurons, myeloid and lymphoid cells in host immune protection against neurotuberculosis, Ngiambudulu Mabandu Francisco. In clinical science and immunology, for a thesis which evaluates and compares BCG vaccine-specific immune responses in infants who receive BCG at birth or because of birth at home during the first clinic visit at 6 weeks of age, Frederick Lutwama. In clinical science and immunology, for a thesis which develops a visual cell-based with high-content RNA interference screening approach with a list of new potential candidate genes against listeriosis, Asongwe Lionel Ate Tanto. In disability studies, for a thesis which explores experiences of parents of disabled children who actively participated in the inclusion and retention of disabled children in basic education in the Amatole District Municipality of Eastern Cape, Ntombekaya Chabalala. In human genetics, for a thesis which demonstrates the presence of genome-wide promoter region DNA methylation in patients with chronic hepatitis B virus infection, validates this using highly methylated genes, thereby informing on the mechanisms by which chronic hepatitis B virus infection causes liver disease and cancer. Manghopo Magdalene Gegatle. in human genetics for a thesis which focuses on known and novel molecular genetic causes of arrhythmogenic right ventricular and dilated cardiomyopathy in South Africans, Ms. Wandile Mbele. In medical biochemistry, for a thesis which characterizes the structural features of the proximal and distal regions of human angiotensin-converting enzyme that are acquired for its proteolytic cleavage and release from the cell membrane, Nyla Conrad. In medical biochemistry, for a thesis which investigates the interactions of the GPR54 and GPR147 receptors with their cognate ligands and ligand analogs, Megan Hendrikse. In medical biochemistry, for a thesis which is the first study to describe a role for AP1 in regulating PAK3 expression and identifies a potential feedback loop required for cytoskeletal reorganization and migration observed in cancer cells, Nina Allison Victoria Holderness Parker. In medical virology, for a thesis which focuses on the impact of immune activation and inflammation on susceptibility to HIV infection and disease progression in HIV serodiscordant and seroconcordant heterosexual couples, Shamim Zer Jomdali. In medical virology, for a thesis that evaluates the influence of HIV diversity on immune responses to the virus in Cameroon, a country with a highly diverse HIV epidemic, and the implications for HIV vaccine development, Ami Marcel Simon Tongo Passo. In medicine, for a thesis which validates a novel isolated heart model to study acute heart failure and demonstrates the beneficial effect of new metabolic and pharmacological therapeutic approaches against this disease, Gaurang Prabhakar Deshpande. In medicine, for a thesis which investigates clinical and immunological aspects of HIV tuberculous meningitis and neurological TB immune reconstitution inflammatory syndrome in Cape Town, thereby informing clinical practices and future research priorities in affected patients, Suzanne Marais. In neurosciences, for a thesis which examines novel biomarkers of neurological injury and inflammation in children with tuberculous meningitis, and has findings which demonstrate that biomarkers of brain injury are promising tools to assess injury severity, track disease course, and prognosticate. Ursula Karen Rolwink. In nursing, for a thesis which investigates the effects of the initiation of a long-acting injectable contraceptive, depomedroxyprogesterone acetate, compared with the initiation of an intrauterine contraceptive device after childbirth, on depressive symptoms and sexual functioning, Mandisa Singata Madligi. In pediatrics, for a thesis which screens a gene important for protection against TB disease, reports 2 novel mutations, and was extended to explore functional relevance to test for resistance or susceptibility to tuberculosis, Sandra Margaret Pinar. In physiology, for a thesis that implicates the neurotransmitters glutamate and GABA in attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and investigates how early life stress influences behavior and neurochemistry in a rat model of ADHD, thereby providing insight into the neural disturbance underlying this disorder, Tony Lee Sturley. In physiology, for a thesis which investigates dopaminergic regulation in response to developmental stress and methamphetamine and cocaine exposure in animal models of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, anxiety, depression, and controls, Jacqueline Samantha Womersley. In psychiatry, for a thesis that investigates the neuropsychology and neuroanatomy of a methamphetamine dependence, paying particular attention to differences between individuals with and without psychotic symptoms, Sarah May Cotton. In public health, for a thesis which describes the outcomes and effectiveness of treatment for HIV-infected children in Southern Africa, identifying specific drugs and exposures which compromise treatment, and determining the trade-offs associated with the use of different approaches to laboratory monitoring, Mary Ann Davies. In public health, for a thesis which describes the neurotoxic effects of organophosphate pesticides amongst emergent farmers in the Western Cape Province of South Africa, and both confirms the risk from acute poisoning and highlights the threat arising from long-term low-dose exposures. Zelda Holtman.
Dear friends, student graduates, new doctors, parents, loved ones and supporters and members of the faculties, this is an occasion that I know gives you all huge pride when you see your loved ones march across the stage, graduating after so many years of study and work, and I know it's a moment of pride for all of the graduates. But perhaps most of all, it's a moment of pride for the university, because the occasion highlights what the university stands for and what it does. It is the culmination of our academic activities. You saw before you, firstly, many new professionals who are graduating and will go out into the world of commerce, business, health sciences, marketing, insurance, and will populate the professions, lead those professions, take those professions forward, and we are enormously proud of the role the university plays in creating the next generation of professionals. You saw before you a very large cohort of researchers. In some senses, I'm tempted to apologize for the length of the ceremony, but the length of the ceremony is a testimony to the number of graduates, but especially the number of postgraduates, the number of doctorates we have, who are advancing science, whether in the fields of commerce and business or in the fields of health sciences, spreading new knowledge, discovering technologies that are relevant not just for our own world, for the people who get sick in Southern Africa, but for across the world. They are breaking new ground, preparing the ground for the next big discoveries. You also saw a diversity of students in all levels, undergraduate and postgraduate, that represent transformation at UCT, transformation of our country, transformation, in fact, further afield, because you may have recognized that many of the names of the graduates today were from other countries, and especially many from other African countries. We take huge pride in the fact that some 20% of all our students come from other countries, and I want to extend a special welcome to the parents and families who've flown here from outside South Africa, and to say to you that you are part of the UCT family. When you go back home, we expect you to join the chapters. I and my colleagues visit Nairobi, Kampala, Dar es Salaam, Lusaka, to see you and to ensure that the networks from UCT extend truly across the continent and, of course, across the world. We visit our alumni all over. You also witnessed the graduation address by Honorary Doctorate Salim Karim, which I think was a masterful address and perhaps had profound lessons for all of you, for the researchers amongst you, about the need to persist, the need to not give up when you fail 8 times, because the courage and the successful researchers, the successful discoverers, the successful inventors are not those who by chance discover something, but are those whose minds and laboratories are prepared because they are looking for an answer, and when eventually they spot it, they can recognize it and make something of it. You also heard a record of the kinds of multiple skills that one needs to be a leading academic. And I point not only to our honorary graduate today, but also to all those on the stage. Because it's not just the science, it's not just a great mind that will identify those discoveries, but it's much more. It's the charisma that you saw displayed, which can persuade a CEO of a company that to change their minds about a vision, that can inspire people with the hope of eradicating a disease or conquering it, or empowering people, empowering women who otherwise don't have control over their health and illness. And it is that the ability to raise funds, the ability to organize a large team of people, the qualities of a leading academic are multiple and require all of those, not just interdisciplinary skills, but talents. And we have them in abundance in our university and on the stage today. I'm sure, graduates, that you will want to say a special thanks to the people who have supported you through these years. And I invite you to stand up and make eye contact with your loved ones in the audience and take your scroll and wave it and shout your appreciation to them. And I think you'll agree that you probably would not have achieved what you have if it had not have been for the teaching and supervision and leadership and guidance of the faculty members, the lecturers and professors on the stage. And I invite you to show your appreciation to them too. And finally, I want to congratulate you all as you become members of the convocation of UCT, part of that family of 160,000 or so living alumni spread all over the world. Well done. Let's have one more huge round of applause for the graduates.
We've come to the end of the proceedings. In a few minutes, the Vice-Chancellor will dissolve the congregation. May I ask you to remain standing while the procession leaves the hall, and I invite all the graduates to join the procession and to process with the procession right down to University Avenue. Please don't stop on the steps. That helps everyone get out of the hall quickly. You're also, all the graduates and all the graduates' families are invited to the function in the Robert Leslie building at the end of University Avenue. When you get to the bottom of the steps and you go right, the second last building on the right-hand side is the Robert Leslie building. The Vice-Chancellor will now dissolve the congregation. Please stand.
By virtue of the authority conferred on me, I now dissolve this congregation of the University of Cape Town.